All right, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Mike, you were one of my favorite storytellers that I've had on my channel. Your first video was a magnificent.
Thank you, Mark. That means a lot coming from you, actually, man. It really does. I'd probably tear up right now, but as you know, they took out my tear duct after the accident,
Interesting.
wrapped around my eyeballs to keep it in my head. Hey, you had to take down that video, man. Last time I looked at it, it had a little over 7 million views. You said YouTube was claiming my eye was giving people the heebie-jeebies, and that happens. That happens from time to time. I don't know if you recall, but you called and yelled at me.
Sorry.
Claimed that I was intentionally looking at both cameras at the same time.
Yeah.
And Mark, I can't control that, man. And if I could, I promise you there's way better stuff I'd rather look at than two cameras at the same time. But we're good, man. Thank you for having me back.
You were doing this interview and you mentioned something about P. Diddy.
Diddy. Yeah.
You went to one of his parties.
Oh, man. Oh, you ain't told nobody else that, have you? I wish you hadn't have said anything.
Sorry.
I wish you hadn't have said that out loud. Oh, man. You wasn't supposed to tell anybody that, man. I told you that in confidentiality. Oh, yeah, I've been to a couple parties. Yeah, that's actually where the accident happened. Cork came flying out of the bottle. Right there, man. Yeah. What about the party?
He's in the news now because of all the...
The oil. Oh, you want me to talk about my years moving oil, don't you? Okay. All right, I'm going to make this quick, man, because old buddy's supposed to be up here in a little bit, man. Y'all got some good stuff out here, man. It's kicking in right now. Woo! Oh, my years moving oil. Yeah, so before I moved oil for Diddy, I was moving it for Robert Kelly. That Kelly and, of course, Jeffrey, or Mr. E, as they called him on the island. You know, 20 pack here, 30 pack there. I could always fit it in my trunk. And let me say this, man, talking about moving it all in your trunk, I never thought, you know, by the end of this right here, I was moving it on freight. We was moving it on trains out of Mexico. Keep that in mind. But yeah, I was moving oil for Robert and Mr. E. And I got introduced to Duffy and Slushy. That's Diddy's. He's got two twin brothers that he don't like anybody knowing about, but people know about him. And they were middlemen in the oil. And probably marking it up because I was getting a hell of a deal. I was plugged in up there at Johnson. I've been moving oil for years, man, all over the country. I could get oil anywhere to anyone. And I could get it cheap. I was making good money. I was moving it at a fair price. Everybody was happy. And then when Duffy and Slushy, when we started moving for Diddy, it was like it was never enough, man. I was always on the phone. Can you get me more oil? I need more oil. I'm trying to get greased up tonight. I want to get drippy, is what he would say. And that started in 2015. And then within 3 months, I had to buy a flatbed truck. And then 2 months after that, we bought a box truck. A lot of people don't know there's money in oil, but there is. And I made it. And I'm here to talk about it. So in 2017, there was a shortage on supplies. They wouldn't get something, and I guess it was the oil because they started putting more baby in it. Less oil and more baby, and Diddy knew immediately. He knew immediately. The first day I dropped that off, he called me back 10 minutes. Because he would always want to try the product off, you know, before I left. I want to make sure this is good oil, is what he'd say. And I dropped it off, and it just happened to be the first shipment of the new formula. More baby and less oil. And he called me. He was so mad, man. He was so mad, threatening me. I don't even want to mention what he was saying. Over some oil. And he accused me of trying to rip him off. He thought that I was making my own oil. That I was cutting Johnson out. He said, I know this ain't from Johnson. I want the real stuff. I want some of that aloe too. I want the jug. Give me the big jug with the pump on it. And I told him, man, I was like, look, brother, they changed the formula. And he said, you lying to me. You lying to me. You trying to make extra money off of me. I'm trying to get drippy tonight is what he would say. He was yelling that. His neighbors could probably hear him. And I told him, I said, no, man. No, they changed the formula. But I know an amigo down south, man. He can get it done. He can get anything. You know, he can get you shelled pecans if you want them. And he said, make the phone call. So I called Jose, man, and within about 3 hours, they had a 300,000 square foot building ready to make the original formula, original oil formula. And we was putting it on the trains. You know, slide a little money to Border Patrol. Everybody was happy. Diddy was happy. For the first time, he was content with the amount of oil that he had. And it was out of control, man. He was oiled up all the time.
Interesting.
You know, he would try to FaceTime and you couldn't see him because the phone was covered in oil. Covered in oil, and he thinks he can get more oil. He paid a guy, an assistant, an oil assistant, to keep him. He would say, "Oh, spray off on me." That's what he would tell the guy, and the guy would spray off on him, dab him up with a little bit of that oil. And it's just, I should probably write a book, Mark. Now that I think of it, I should probably write a book instead of giving you the views. I should probably get the views. Probably right. It was, it's just insane. You couldn't write this stuff up, man. You couldn't make it up. You couldn't make this stuff up. I wish I recorded it. I wish I had more pictures. You got those pictures I give you. I don't know if you can put those on. They might want to wait until after the trial is over before you show those. So check with them before you put those up. It's just a wild time to be alive, man. And I remember, can't stop, won't stop. And he'd do his little dance. Was that no, okay. Man, that stuff is kicking in, Mark. That is some good stuff, man. Woo! We gotta wrap this up soon, man, because my buddy's supposed to be up here with another pack. Oh, I gotta button this shirt, man. Y'all got some good stuff out here. I feel like I could run up a building, Mark. And hell, I might try when I get out of here. Y'all got the good stuff out here, man. They ain't got this stuff back home. I believe I can fly. I believe. Oh, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
Oh, my bad, Mark. Oh, that's my bad, man. I wish you would have said something. I'm sorry, ma'am. Probably thinks I'm on something.
What's the craziest escapade you've involved yourself in?
Escapade? I should probably look that up before I answer, but I'm gonna say right off jump. The first thing I recall, the first thing I can think of that immediately says escapade is a second-story domestic dispute at a Motel 6 on the interstate side. On the interstate side. If you stay more than a week, they put you on the interstate side. And that's probably about all I can think of, really. We're going to have to wrap this up, man. This dude, he should be pulling up just any minute.
Are there any other things that have gone on in your life that are interesting?
I'm behind on rent. That interesting? Y'all still pay cash here, right? I get paid right after. All right, let's wrap this up, man. Can I get out of here? I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready to get teed up.
All right. Mike, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you, Mark.
Good luck staying back on track.
I will, man. I'm keeping my nose clean out here. I appreciate it. I appreciate that, man. I will. I'm staying on the right path. You know, I can see straight. I'm walking, you know, how I see. I'm walking the path that I see.